Imagine a plant so powerful it mines nutrients from 10 feet beneath your garden. A plant that produces up to 40 tons of biomass per acre, transforming into free fertilizer every month forever. Decades ago, scientists claimed this could end our dependence on chemical fertilizers entirely. So why did agriculture abandon this secret engine of infinite abundance? The answer isn't just safety, fears, or industry pressure. It's about what happens when profit collides with a plant designed to give everything away for free. Here's where our story begins, and the mystery of its disappearance unfolds. Comfrey isn't just another green patch in your garden. It's a living engine. Every spring its leaves surge upward, thick and broad, powered by a taproot that plunges 10 feet into the earth. While most crops scratch the surface hunting for nutrients, this plant drills downward, reaching mineral veins untouched by shallow roots. Potassium, calcium, nitrogen, and phosphorus are extracted from deep subsoil layers, loaded into every leaf. This is a plant built for abundance. Once established, Bocking 14 comfrey can be cut up to 6 times per season. Wait just 4 weeks after harvest, and the patch is lush again, ready for another round. During a single growing season, 1 acre can produce up to 40 tons of biomass, more than almost any other field crop. That's not a typo or theoretical maximum. British trials in the 60s and 70s measured it year after year, even on poor soils. Every cut leaf is a concentrated nutrient package. The numbers are staggering. 2 to 3% nitrogen, up to 7% potassium, far exceeding traditional farm manure. Place these leaves as mulch, and they vanish into soil in just 48 hours. Low fiber content means rapid decomposition, releasing their mineral payload almost instantly, where other green manures take weeks to break down. Comfrey leaf mulch transforms into a black, earthy layer in less than 2 days. The cycle repeats harvest after harvest without annual replanting, without fertilizer inputs, without tillage. Each plant returns stronger, its root system digging deeper, breaking clay and improving drainage. Comfrey is just one of the nutrient plants the industry buried. There are 7 more, like this, hidden right under your nose. If you want to know them all, I've gathered them in a complete guide that's in the first link in the description. But let's continue because there's still crucial information in this video. For 20 years, a single comfrey patch can transform abandoned ground into rich, living soil. This isn't just a plant. It's a self-renewing nutrient mine. Its taproot acts as a living drill, extracting reserves that would otherwise remain locked far below the reach of vegetables and grains. Cut leaves deposited act like a conveyor belt, cycling those minerals to the surface again and again for anyone seeking true, closed-loop fertility. Comfrey offers a model that's hard to match, but such a powerful plant doesn't spread by seed alone. Bocking 14 is a sterile hybrid bred to stay where you put it. No invasion, no weed takeover. It's controlled abundance, waiting for a gardener's hand to unlock its full potential. The only thing missing is someone willing to harness it, and that's where the story of Comfrey's unlikely champion begins. Lawrence Hills didn't look like a revolutionary. In 1954, he was a young British horticulturist with his head full of post-war anxieties, empty shelves, depleted soil, and the feeling that global food supply was always one bad season from disaster. He saw something in Comfrey that others overlooked, a plant that could turn barren ground into a horn of plenty if only someone could domesticate it properly. That year, Hills founded the Henry Doubleday Research Association in a rented cottage in Bocking. The mission was simple but radical: prove with concrete numbers and field trials that Comfrey could feed people and livestock without chemicals or imported manure. The challenge was as much about control as abundance. Wild Comfrey was notorious for spreading by seed, invading fields and hedgerows. Hills knew no farmer would trust a plant that could take over their land, so he set out to create a version that stayed put, a Comfrey that could be managed, not feared. Over the following years, he collected Comfrey strains from across Britain, digging roots from old gardens and abandoned farms. By 1958, he'd secured a 3/4-acre plot in Bocking, paying just £10 yearly rent, and began growing 21 different varieties side by side. The work was slow, muddy, and often lonely. Hills lived near the test site, tending rows of Comfrey through rain and drought, recording every detail. He crossed Russian Comfrey, known for vigor, with common Comfrey, seeking a plant that produced no seeds It took years of propagation and ruthless selection. By the early 60s, one strain stood out. Bocking 14 was sterile, produced no viable seeds, and showed stubborn resistance to rust and diseases. Most importantly, it delivered the highest nutrient content of any variety tested, especially potassium. Hill's notebooks filled with yield charts and mineral analyses. He tracked regrowth rates, cutting weights, and the effect of different soils. Early association members, mostly ordinary gardeners, donated pennies and pounds to keep trials running. Some sent letters describing their own comfrey experiments, echoing Hill's conviction that everyone should grow it, however little they had. By the mid-60s, Bocking 14 was ready for the world. Hills didn't patent his discovery or guard it as a trade secret. Instead, he mailed root cuttings to anyone who asked, gardeners, small farmers, even overseas experimenters, hoping to revive exhausted soils. Hill's work wasn't about theory, it was about proof. He wanted to demonstrate that a farmer armed with nothing but a spade and a patch of ground could unlock fertility rivaling the best manure without risking a weed explosion. Bocking 14 was the answer, a plant that stayed where you put it, multiplied only by root division, and delivered a steady harvest of nutrient-rich leaves year after year. For Hills, this wasn't just a botanical breakthrough. It was a blueprint for resilience, a way to feed the world from the ground up, one root at a time. Laboratory analysis leaves no room for doubt. Comfrey's numbers are off the charts. Fresh Bocking 14 leaves show 2 to 3% nitrogen, around 1% phosphorus, and a potassium range climbing to 7%. That last figure, potassium, is what makes comfrey stand out for fruit crops. Potassium is the key to bigger, sweeter harvests, and comfrey delivers more than almost any manure or green crop. Side by side, farm manure rarely exceeds 1.5% potassium, while comfrey leaves can quadruple that. But it's not just about NPK. Comfrey's low fiber content means those nutrients release almost instantly. Throw a pile of leaves onto a compost heap, and within hours the pile heats up, sometimes 10, even 15 degrees. Microbes invade the fresh green tissue, breaking it down so fast that even a cold, stagnant compost pile can revive. Gardeners call comfrey the compost activator for good reason. Where straw or grass clippings might take weeks to decompose, comfrey's soft, protein-rich leaves vanish in days, feeding soil and every organism in it. Liquid fertilizers tell the same story. Soak comfrey, leaves, and water, and you get a dark, foul-smelling brew. Comfrey tea, richer in potassium than many commercial tomato fertilizers. Tests show a typical batch contains 2% nitrogen, 1% phosphorus, and 3% potassium, matching or exceeding synthetic blue crystals sold at garden centers. The difference is comfrey, tea brews from a plant you cut for free, not from a bag you buy again and again. In 2001, the FDA drew a hard line. Comfrey supplements were pulled from shelves, flagged for containing pyrrolizidine alkaloids, compounds linked to liver damage if ingested. Warnings targeted teas, capsules, and tonics, not the plant in the ground or its use as mulch. But headlines didn't make that distinction. Comfrey's name appeared on consumer alert lists, and the word toxic began to stick. In the public mind, a plant once promoted as a garden ally became a hazard. Garden centers, already cautious about legal liability, took the easy path. Comfrey disappeared from catalogs and nursery shelves, not because it poisoned gardens, but because retailers didn't want to explain the difference between a banned supplement and a perfectly safe fertilizer plant. There were no laws against growing comfrey or fines for using its leaves on tomatoes. Still, the effect was chilling. A plant that had been a quiet favorite of organic growers suddenly became radioactive in conventional market eyes. The science behind the scare is real. Pyrrolizidine alkaloids are dangerous when ingested in quantity, but in soil those compounds are broken down by microbes and diluted by environment. No regulatory agency has ever banned comfrey as fertilizer, and there's no evidence that using it as mulch poses risk to people or crops. The real victim was reputation. Comfrey's fall from grace had less to do with what it did in gardens, and more with a wave of a regulatory fear that swept away nuance. For years, the plant survived only among organic gardeners and permaculture circles, passed quietly as root cuttings and word-of-mouth advice. The rest of the gardening world moved on, leaving the old ally in shadows. Right now, fertilizer prices hit historic highs while soil health declines worldwide. A plant buried by fear offers a proven path to self-renewing abundance without store-bought inputs. The question isn't whether comfrey can change our future, it's whether we'll let old narratives stop us from planting it. What would you risk to grow freedom from the ground up? This is where we cultivate what the world wanted to forget. If this story awakens something in you, like, subscribe, and share it, because the future of food isn't sterile. It has deep roots, thick leaves, and sometimes hides in a plant they told you not to grow.